Baseball is officially back this Thursday, and the San Diego Padres opening up their season. Oh boy, no rest for the weary. The Detroit Tigers at Petco Park. Here with a preview of the big game, Matt Skraby from 97.3 The Fan. Matt, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready for some baseball?
I am 1,000% ready for some baseball. Spring training could get a little old after a while.
After a while?
Yeah.
Okay, it's done. I think we got our last game today. How does the team look?
Team looks, I think it looks a lot better than we thought when we started spring training. They brought in some guys. They actually created a lot of competition among some of the positions that they need to create competition, and they've found a couple guys. Jace Bowen is someone that they picked up from the Pirates earlier or later last year, and he put himself in a good position. He's not going to make the opening day roster, but really what they did was, instead of just having the guys get their position, they know that they're going to start, they brought in some guys that were going to compete with them and push them to prove that they need to be on the roster, which I think is a really good idea for any sort of sports team.
That's good strategy. You can't rest on your laurels. Was this
True.
a lot of Craig Stamon doing that, his ideas, or was it something that was kind of planned?
I actually think that A.J. Preller learns every single year from what he did the previous year. And this year he learned, or from last year he learned, I need depth. I need to make sure that we got players that are going to help us throughout the entire season, throughout if we need them in the playoffs, because last year Ramon Laureano hurt himself in the last week of the season.
That hurt.
It really hurt.
Yep.
It was a big reason as to why they couldn't score against the Cubs, because they took him out of the lineup, and they didn't really have anyone in there on their roster that could, take that place. So I think A.J. Preller over the years has learned, I need to bring in guys, I need to find the right contracts, and I need to create competition in camp.
Let's talk about, mentioned Craig Stamon already. He's got his first spring training under his belt. How's he been doing? He seems like he's a very cool, calm, collected, mellow fellow. Perfect for San Diego.
He is a mellow fellow. I like how you put that. I might use that later on the radio. But I think what people need to know about Craig Stamon is that he was a lifelong player. And he understands what it's like to go through the rigors of a season. Right. And so Mike Schill had great baseball knowledge, and he was a great manager, but he didn't have that playing experience that Craig Stamon has. So Craig Stamon is going to be able to talk to players in a certain way that other guys can't. Yeah. And I think that Craig Stamon is also a guy who surrounds himself with people that are going to give him information. He's not a guy who's going to say, I know everything. This is my way or the highway. He will listen to the people that he's brought in, and I think that's very important for a first-year manager.
And it's a pretty quick transition from player to manager, not a lot of years in between from retirement, and he still has a bunch of dudes he played with on this team now. Is that weird? Is that awkward, or is that cool?
That's going to be the interesting part. Yeah. I've been talking about this because it's like Craig Stamon's now, it's like having someone who's your equal at work now be promoted to your boss.
Isn't that awkward?
It is a little awkward, but I think in a baseball setting, they're all pulling towards the same goal. Correct. They're all, I think it's called pulling on the same side of the rope. And they're trying, I don't think it's going to be a thing, but I do want to know how Craig Stamon handles issues where he has to be hard on a player. Sure. Where he has to, say the tough things that players might not necessarily want to hear. And I do think that he's going to be able to do that.
Who's going to be the opening day pitcher? Is it normal that we're 2-3 days out and we still don't know? Is it Nick Paveta? Is it Michael King? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it's going to be Nick Paveta, and they're the only team left, I believe, without a starting pitcher named for opening day. Right. And I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I do think because of their rotation and the way that Joe Musgrove is not going to be able to start the year with the team, they had a little bit of a wrench thrown into things. I think it's going to be Nick Paveta, and then Michael King didn't look great in spring training, so I don't know that I would want him to go out there on opening day after what I saw in spring. But Nick Paveta looked great. Nick Paveta deserves it. He seems like a guy who would really appreciate that.
I'm excited about Nick Castanos being on the team. Is he going to be a big factor? What happened there? Because this is a good player. Had some issues. What are you thinking we're going to get out of Nick this year?
What I see, I think we're going to get a guy who's focused. Okay. I think that he is a guy he's a very quiet guy. You don't get much from him. Yeah. But I think he's a guy who is going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder because the Phillies just got rid of him. And the Phillies
say, what went down over there?
Well, I think it was a lot of differences of opinion, and also the Phillies fan base and the sports talk, they get on you, and then once they choose you as their target, they're not going to leave you.
Loved him.
He's also best friends with Manny. And But what I saw from Nick in spring, Nick Castanos, is that he still has the power. He could still, he could still play some defense. He's going to play some first for the first time in his career. But I think that Nick Castellanos is going to be a valuable addition, especially since they got him for the MLB minimum.
Which was a bargain.
Bargain.
Okay, let's talk Fernando Tatis. Very impressive in the World Baseball Classic. I remember watching these games for the Dominican saying, save it for the season, save it for the season. But the WBC is a whole other conversation that we're probably not going to have time for. Tell me, can he keep this pace up, and what has changed, and what have you seen to make him even better this year?
I do think he can keep this pace up. And one of the things about Fernando, it's not what he's doing in the box. He understands how he needs to hit and everything. But Fernando is someone who has matured over the years. He just gets it now. And I love that bat flip right there. Like when we see this Fernando right here, this is the Fernando you need to see.
We need and want, because he got down on himself a lot last year.
He did.
We saw it physically. It manifested in his game and his expressions. And when he gets out of that rut, he's a special player, obviously.
He is. And I think that this year is going to be one of his best years. The age 27 season for a lot of players is their great season.
Right.
And I think the sky is the limit for him this year.
Let's go. Prediction for the season quickly before, come on.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I think they'll win 90 games.
Check.
And
so
I don't know about I think they'll make it out of the first round.
Check.
That's it.
Got it. San Diego Padres opening day is happening Thursday. Padres versus those Detroit Tigers. Thursday, its first pitch is at 1:10 p.m. And it's a party out there in East Village.
Oh, yeah.
By Petco every single time. You're going to be hanging out.
We're going to be down there, Baja Ricks. There's going to be lots of stuff going on down there. So 6 to noon, we'll have some shows down at Baja Ricks.
It's a long.
So Bettawood, 6 to 10 a.m., Braden's at 10 to noon.
Get to bed early the night before. That's Skraby. We thank you.
Thank you very much.